When it comes to video games, very few things get players' tongues wagging more than tales of taking on an exceptional enemy, circling their foe, waiting for the chance to strike, and then emerging victorious over a challenging fight is something sure to live on in the minds of players for years. Yet, as you might expect, with a process that can take years, sometimes enemies are cut from the final product without the player even noticing. Yet thanks to code sometimes being particularly difficult to tidy up without deleting other strings, sometimes remnants of these enemies can remain, or indeed be so hidden within the game itself that the devs assume that nobody would ever stumble across them. However, if there's one thing that we gamers are known for, it's going over every possible grain of sand in the pursuit of hidden treasure. And thanks to the devoted work of a select few, we're able to showcase some enemies that most casual players would never even know about. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 7 more hidden video game enemies you weren't supposed to see. Number 7. Red Iridium Bats, Stardew Valley. Now when I think of Stardew Valley, I tend to think of extremely chilled and relaxing gameplay, maybe with some farming here and there and topped up with a ton of resource gathering. I don't tend to think of hell bats that will most likely kill players in one hit, and to be honest, I don't think that many players predicted that outcome either. Still, this was very much the case for some intrepid explorers who managed to make it past floor 880 in the Skull Cavern. As on non-prehistoric floors, there was an infinitesimally small chance that the already fairly beefy iridium bats would be replaced with even deadlier red ones. Making these winged terrors even more threatening is the fact that the red iridium bats have double the health and double the speed, meaning that they will be in your face and then chewing it off in mere moments. The reason this enemy variant went uncovered for so long is that in order to get to this stage, players would not only need an intense amount of stamina, but also need to circumvent the game's sleep cycle system, staying up past 2 AM in order to delve deeper into Skull Cavern. As such, by normal methods, they weren't likely ever meant to be able to face this bat and were pretty much punished if they ever dared cross its path. Number 6. John Romero, Doom 2. While Daikatana might have famously marketed itself with the tagline that John Romero is going to make you his bitch, but before even more famously itself and then asking you if you wanted a slice of trouser pie, it turns out that Doom 2 allowed players to turn the tables somewhat and slap the misguided video game icon right in the mush with the butt of your gun. Now before you say to yourself, pretty sure I'd notice his "the rent is very cheap in my parents' basement" hairstyle in this game, well don't worry, because his appearance in this title is anything but visible to the player. In this game's final confrontation with the icon of sin, the Doomslayer must contend with not only the sinister Skull's monologue, but also the barrage of high-level enemies that it brings in to protect itself. Yet through skill, repeated shots to the face, and pure unadulterated rage, you'll be able to take it down in style. Yet it's here, in this final boss battle, that Mr. Romero's cameo resides. For you see, when you're firing shots into the face of the icon of sin, they're actually passing through the boss and hitting John Romero's head, which for some reason is impaled on a stick. The player would have had no earthly idea that this was the case, but thanks to using a cheat to clip through the boss, you'll be able to see John in all of his 90s goodness writhing in agony. Number 5. The Tumbleweed Ghosts, Red Dead Redemption. When it comes to the Red Dead Redemption games, the franchise is no stranger to the odd, the weird, and sometimes the downright spooky. And instead of walking the line between comedy and action, it just drunkenly staggers all over the place, dousing every genre it touches with a hefty dose of strong grog. Yet when it does want to get serious and put the shivers into players, it does so with absolutely terrifying precision. Take for example the haunted town of Tumbleweed from Red Dead Redemption, which has seen countless players report of strange and unnerving things taking place within its boundaries. From footprints being found in the church, an unnerving message scrawled into the pulpit, and of course those horrible moans and groans that seem to echo through the town, it seems that this is a place that many should steer clear of. While many of the rumours were actually found out to be fake or just ones made to heighten the myth of Tumbleweed, it turns out that the moans and groans actually do originate from an in-game source. Deep inside the mansion exists a door that players can't get through, at least without using clipping cheats, and it turns out that this leads to an NPC spawn point which loads characters in who then proceed to try and escape to no avail. It's actually creepier to think of these poor souls being trapped in the basement over there being an actual ghost. Number 4. Baby Ocelot, Dark Souls 3. Now the Dark Souls series is no stranger to hiding very odd and bizarre enemies within its labyrinthine code, and players only recently stumbled across yet more buried bosses that reside within Bloodborne's Chalice dungeons. However, when it comes to Dark Souls 3, there is an air quotes enemy that is hidden from all but those who have access to the alpha version of the game. I use the air quotes on enemy here because in this example, poor baby Ocelot really isn't out for your blood, but will end up being bathed in it once dear old dad Osiris smashes him into your face over and over. Now, in the published version of the game, Ocelot is rendered as invisible, likely because the sight of a baby being crushed into the ground would have caused quite the stir, as would the image of the mangled corpse still being carried around by the monster after his dad explodes into a rage. But you know what? It does make the fight far more horrifying with the original version reinstated. Still, there are more than enough nightmares out there in the Dark Souls world, and so the developers choosing to cut this probably saved us a fair few. Number 3. The Invincible Arachnoid, Serious Sam 3. While the Arachnoid is indeed an enemy that will pop up frequently in Serious Sam 3, there awaits a truly terrifying variant of the beast that will only be found within very specific copies of the game. What makes this version of the Arachnoid so intensely unsettling is the fact that it is completely immune to your attacks, as well as moving quicker than a whippet with a bum full of dynamite, and will cut through you like you're made of paper. Now, this is normally the type of enemy that Serious Sam diehards would love to face because, if we're being honest, the player base is made up of about 90% sadists. However, these true fans would have actually never ended up facing the beast due to the fact that their support of the franchise likely means that they bought an official copy of the game. That's right, the Invincible Arachnoid is an enemy that only appears in cracked or illegal copies of Serious Sam 3 and will hunt any pirates it finds down with ruthless aggression. Buy or die definitely seems to be the message sent by the devs here. Number 2. Killer Mario, Super Mario RPG. Now, when you think of Mario, the first words that you probably think of, outside of apparently the now false title of plumber, is likely hero, and with good reason, seeing as he saved the world more times than he's enjoyed a big bowl of his canon favorite food, spaghetti. And yet when it comes to the brilliantly produced Super Mario RPG, there seems to be a less than heroic version of Mario hiding just out of sight. Thanks to the tireless work of those looking to break open the code of every game they come across and the excellent Boundary Break YouTube series, countless secrets have been laid bare that the developers never intended to come to light, and amongst them apparently is a Killer Mario. You see, early in the game, Mario enters a town in which Princess Peach can be seen poking out from behind a building, and should the player be able to clip out of bounds around this area, then head up to the top of the screen and then to the far right, they will come across a truly terrifying sight. The image appears to be a bug-eyed Mario holding part of Peach's hair in one hand and her head in the other. It's unclear as to what the hell this would have ever related to in the game, but one thing is for certain, this Mario certainly isn't friendly. And number 1, Giant Ants, Command & Conquer Red Alert. Just when you thought the almighty Command & Conquer Red Alert couldn't get any more amazing, they only went and added in bloody giant frickin' ants for you to kill as a super secret enemy. Now, if this sounds like the ramblings of a madman, then trust me, for a few long years I was right there with you, my friend, dismissing any reports of said giant ants as nothing more than playground billy spouted by my friends. However, upon learning that there was indeed a secret set of missions that sees you fighting off an invasion of horrifically mutated insects, I found myself taking to the streets to join the voices demanding that people check out this utterly crazy campaign. Unlocked by shift-clicking on the speaker icon in the top right of the game's menu, you'll be teleported to a horror B-movie of sorts, except these ain't no bees, my friend. These are giant ants who are easily the toughest units in the entire game, and you'll have to battle them with limited resources and non-respawning buildings. It is a true challenge that seems at once to be completely out of place with the rest of the game, but also at the same time so utterly over the top that it could only reside within the often daft world that makes up the Command & Conquer franchise. And there we go, my friends. Those were 7 more hidden video game enemies you weren't supposed to see. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice. That's where I do all of my streaming outside of work. It'd be great to see you over there. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.